Welcome to your Fat Wallet podcast. My friend, today I want to talk about ranch economics, but not the kind most people expect. I'm not going to talk about spreadsheets, about markets, or about complicated numbers. I want to talk about something much quieter, something that shapes profits long before calves ever reach the sale barn. The calving season, and how the timing of calving quietly changes your stocking rate, which is one of the biggest drivers of profits on a ranch. Today, this is not a technical talk, it's a conversation. Like we're leaning on a fence, watching cattle graze, and trying to understand why some seasons feel heavy and others feel calm. Years ago, I used to believe profit came mostly from heavier calves. That's what I heard at the auction. That's what people talked about. Pounds, always pounds. And slowly, without realizing it, I began organizing my year around chasing bigger winning weights. The problem was the land didn't always agree with that plan. The calving season I followed matched tradition. It matched what neighbors were doing, but it didn't always match the rhythm of the grass. And because of that, my stocking rate never felt completely comfortable. Some years it felt tight, other years it felt like we were leaving grass behind. And at the time, I blamed the weather, I blamed the markets, I blamed bad luck. It took me a long time, to realize something simple. The moment calves hit the ground, the pressure on the ranch changes. When people hear the words stocking rate, they often imagine a formula. Acres per cow, charts, calculations. But ranchers know stocking rates differently. We feel it. You feel it when you walk into a pasture and everything seems relaxed, and you feel it when something is off, even if you can't explain why. It's the difference between cattle grazing quietly or pushing the fences looking for more grass. It's the difference between ending the day calm or going to bed carrying tension. Stocking rate is not only about numbers, it's about timing. And the calving season decides when that pressure shows up. Think about what happens when calves arrive. Suddenly, a cow isn't just feeding herself, she's feeding another life. Her nutrient demand increases, her urgency increases, her grazing behavior changes. And if many cows calve at once, that demand spreads across the whole landscape. If the grass is ready, the ranch feels light. But if the grass is still recovering, not yet ready, the ranch feels heavy. Note this, nothing about herd size changed, but everything about pressure timing changed. I remember a spring that taught me this lesson clearly. The rain came at the right time, The grass looked beautiful, and on paper it should have been easy. But the calving season arrived just a little earlier than grass growth. Not dramatically early, just enough, and I didn't have any stockpile grass to cap on. So we began moving cattle sooner than planned. We grazed paddocks that should have rested longer, overgrazing them. Everything still looked fine from a distance from the gate, but I could feel a subtle tension building. By mid-season, I realized something. We were not overstocked, we were mistimed. And that realization changed how I look at ranch economics forever. You see, when stocking pressure increases at the wrong moment, most ranchers respond in logical ways. They add supplements, they buy hay, they intensify effort, they try to fix the symptoms. But those decisions quietly increase costs. And many ranchers think stocking rate is the problem, when really timing created the pressure. Two ranches, side by side, can run the same number of cows and yet feel completely different, just because the calves are born at different times. Grass does not read the calendar. Grass responds to light, to moisture, to temperature. It follows a biological rhythm, and when calving aligns with that rhythm, everything feels synchronized. Cows move calmly when moving to a new paddock. Calves learn to graze naturally. Managers feel less rushed. But when timing drifts, pressure sneaks into the system. Many people search for profit in genetics, or markets, or equipment. And yes, those things matter, but over the years I've noticed something consistent. The ranches that feel financially stable are not always the most productive. They are the ones where the stocking rate stays inside a comfortable margin. When the stocking rate feels balanced, expenses stabilize, decisions become clearer, stress drops. But when the stocking rate feels heavy, every small problem becomes expensive. A rancher once asked me, "How do I increase profits without buying more land?" And he expected a technical answer. Instead, we walked through his calving season, and his cows were calving during a period when the forage was still recovering. He wasn't overstocked overall, but during that early window, the ranch felt overloaded. So he fed more, he worked harder, and shortened rest periods. Later in the season, when the grass was abundant, that pressure disappeared. Changing the calving season didn't magically create more grass, but it changed when the demand happened, and that changed his economics. Sometimes profits don't come from adding more. Sometimes they come from removing pressure. When calving season aligns with grass growth, cows maintain condition naturally and calves gain steadily. Pastures complete their cycle more often, their biological cycle, and the stocking rate feels lighter, even with the same number of animals. Imagine carrying a heavy bucket. For a few seconds, it feels manageable, but hold it all day and it becomes exhausting. Well, stocking rate works the same way. Short bursts of demand are manageable, but long periods of pressure wear down both the land, the cows, and people. Your calving season decides how long you carry that bucket. If you ever feel like something is off without knowing exactly why, look at the timing. Do moves feel rushed early in the season? The pastures rarely reach full maturity to stockpile as standing hay. The cows fluctuate in body condition more than expected. Those are not always signs of too many animals. Sometimes they are signs of mistimed calving. I remember the first season when timing began to align better. Nothing dramatic happened overnight, but the ranch felt calmer. The grass had time to breathe. Cows walked into paddock without urgency. And I felt less pressure as a manager. The economics have improved not because we chased bigger numbers, but because we stopped fighting the rhythm of the landscape. Total grazing changes how we look at economics. Instead of asking, how can I produce more? We began asking, when does the system feel balanced? That question naturally leads us back to calving season. Because once you begin watching biological rhythm, you start noticing when the pressure appears. I don't want you listening today thinking you need to redesign everything tomorrow, because every ranch is different. Every family has its own story. Instead, I want to offer one reflection. If the stocking rate feels heavy, ask yourself when the pressure happens, not just how many animals you run. Many ranchers feel overwhelmed when conversations become technical. But you already know more than you think. You know when your cattle look calm. You know when the grass feels alive. You know when the ranch breathes. And those observations matter. Ranch economics is not only about selling calves. It's about creating a landscape where production flows naturally. Calving season is one of the quietest and most powerful decisions we make. Because when timing changes, stocking rate changes. And when the stocking rate changes, profit often follows. If you take one idea home with you today, let it be this. Profit on a ranch begins long before the sale barn. It begins with time. Thank you for walking this journey with me. May God bless you, your family, your livestock, and your land.